Calvin T. Mann, leading EMIY, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to EMIY TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
Well, welcome to the day. Happy Women's Month. We continue this thing to go. I am here just to open up. I'm innocent bystander for the next couple of weeks. And, oh, yes, it's ladies' night if you're feeling bright. Oh, yes, it's ladies' night. Oh, what a night. So I wanted to make sure I turned it over to the Rose, but happy Women's Day. And ladies and gentlemen, my friend, my co-host, my wife, the beautiful and wonderful Heather Heteru Miller Mann Jackson 5.
Thank you. And just to thank our amazing engineer in the studio with us, Monique. Thank you for coming back and having us here another time. I'm excited about some of the topics that we're going to cover this month. If you're following me on Instagram, I have been doing a series called The 5 Steps to Your Boaz, B-O-A-Z. So there are a lot of women who in seeking a mate, use the story of Ruth and Boaz as a example as to how and what to expect from a mate. And so I'm doing a series on that just to make sure that you have some tools as you're using that as your blueprint for your mate. But today we're going to talk about ready women. And what I mean when I say ready women, it really is a disposition of a woman that I kind of uncovered in my studies and uncovered in my working with women, and recognizing that, when we say ready, and I'm talking about ready for marriage, ready for serious committed relationships, these are the types of women, and I use a little bit of humor in describing these three types of women in terms of being ready. But I want you to really listen with an open mind, with an open heart, and using your level of discernment to help you navigate if you are one or more or none of these types of women. And I also want us to make sure that we remove judgment. So when we talk about removing judgment, we're talking about the good, the bad, the right, and the wrong, especially emphasis on right and wrong. All right. And I want to remove the judgment so that we can kind of proceed along this conversation in a way that's healthy, in a way that's open-minded, in a way that's solution-oriented. All right. So this idea of ready women is about a woman, again, who's ready for a serious and or marriage relationship. And the three different types of women we're going to talk about today are the hot and ready women, are the ready to wear women, and the ready, set, go women. All right. And so I want to kind of talk about what the ready woman really is. And so when we think about the term ready and how it's defined, it really is defined as the state, which is the mental state, the mindset, the state of being in action, of activity, of in a situation, and or the state of being prepared. All right. And so I kind of want us to use that kind of framework to look at what we're talking about when we're talking about ready women. So the first ready woman that I want to talk about is the hot and ready woman. And so the hot and ready woman is one who really has her mind and her heart set on a healthy marriage relationship or serious relationship. However, because of her physical needs, she may have multiple partners, and my co-host says that a woman that has her foot in too many doors, or as I had to explain to him, that most of the time with women, it's not just about the number of men that you engage in companionship or intimacy. It really is our attempt either consciously or subconsciously to put a complete man together using the personality traits of different men. And so what I mean by that is you may have someone that you know with a sense of humor, and you spend time with him because he has an amazing sense of humor. He makes you laugh. It may be someone else who is you're extremely attracted to physically, and he may be just your sex partner. You may have another man that maybe has the means, financial means, to travel or buy gifts or support you in some financial way. Okay, so that's another element of him. Then there's another one who is a companion that's more like a friend. We kind of call them brothers. So he's more like a friend that you can talk to, you can hang out with, you can kick it with, and it's no pressure about, it really is no pressure about the kind of activities that you do together. And then you may have another one who has that special element that you really want to see in a husband. Maybe he is, he's a faith or servant leader. Maybe he is, maybe he's a God chaser like you. His faith is strong. But our attempt, and sometimes you may be intimate with all of them to a degree. But there's always one who is particularly inviting in that area. And so he's the one that you may be most intimate with. And I'm saying intimate in terms of sex and sexual activity with. So again, it's not about, I want you to take away the judgment, because if you are already women, you may have been in these spaces too, as you are dating or as you're trying to make some determinations about who's right for you. All right. And so I want to just kind of talk about it in a real way to make sure that that we're understanding one another, and that this is an open space to be able to have this conversation. Our topic today, I'm just going to go back. This is about the ready women. It's just 3 types of ready women that we're talking about. All right. So we're on the hot and ready woman right now. And so part of the conversation that we typically have, Calvin and I have, around a woman having her foot in so many doors, that when her foot is in so many doors, it's hard for her to have the right door open for the right individual. Because you have so many doors open, that means it's the opportunity to come and go in and out of those doors is still possible, when there should only be one door that's open to you for your mate. And so I just kind of want to clarify that and make sure that, again, we're removing any judgment about good and bad or right and wrong. So also in this hot and ready woman, she is very much a virile woman, very much expecting that her partner or her mate be able to keep up with her and her sexual prowess. And she may be a highly sexual or highly visible woman. And so she makes no shade in making sure that you see her, and that you see her as a desirable woman. And so that may go along with her style, the style of dress, and maybe her provocative nature and how she speaks. She may be in spaces typically where men occupy. You may see her at the cigar bar. You may see her in some of the spaces that you would see men, that you would think that women wouldn't show up. And so, again, no judgment. This is just about looking at this in terms of a ready woman. She makes herself available, and she lets you know that she is available. And so, again, she's going to make herself visible to you in multiple ways. All right. And so the hot and ready woman, is she really ready, is the question. And as we define ready as the state, the mindset of being prepared, of preparing for a situation or a circumstance, is she really ready? Is she ready then to close the doors? Is she ready then to, I can't think of a better word than consecrate. Is she ready to pull herself back and release all of the other men that may be occupying her time, so that the man that is destined for her could actually have an opportunity to show up and be taken seriously? And also, sometimes ready women miss the opportunity for a good man because he may lack one of the things that we talked about in terms of the different men or the different aspects of a man that may make up what you are looking for in its entirety. Especially the good friend or the companion or the person we say, oh, he's like my brother, and that you don't have any real attraction to in that way, for whatever reason it may be. I just want to make sure that as a hot and ready woman, that you make sure that you are seeing through a clear lens. You are seeing through a clear lens. So sometimes our hot and ready women are looking for a hot and ready man, right? And so you're expecting that he will have the same or the same level of what you seek and all the additional things that you would want. And I'm not saying that that's not possible. We're going to talk about at the end some tools and some strategies on how to draw the right man to you so that you're not out seeking him when he should be seeking you. All right. So that's just a little bit of insight on the hot and ready woman. The next woman that we're going to talk about is the ready to wear. Ready to wear. And so in wear, I mean, in the use of the term wear, this particular woman has been in cycles in relationships. So within those relationships, there is a sense of being worn or wearing on your spirit, on your energy, this repetitive nature of being with the same type of maybe toxic man, or drawing the same type of men to you. And that may be men who that offer maybe some emotional stability, but have very little to offer in terms of stability, in terms of financial support, in terms of seeing you in a way that you are marriage material. And this could be a past relationship too, especially if you're a divorcee like me. And hopefully you're not marrying the same type of person over and over again. But sometimes we experience that in marriage and in the dating relationship or the relationship scene. So this is specifically around repeating the same cycle, the same type of guy. And so maybe that type of guy maybe have abusive language, maybe he has abusive behaviors, maybe how he wears on you is that he's needy. He needs you to be more mother-like to him, more mothering, more nurturing, more making all of the decisions. And he's saying, well, what do you want to do? And never initiating, but always asking you to do something. That's another way that it can be how it can wear on you. Another way that this ready to wear woman may have or experience relationships is that not just the habits and behaviors of the man, but her habits and her behaviors seem to draw the same type of relationships. And so I noticed that a lot of women who may date men who may have been unavailable for some time, whether that was through incarceration, maybe it was through long-term marriage, maybe it was through just being kind of the lady on the side. I don't like to call that side piece, but the lady on the side of a relationship, kind of the go-to when he's in between someone, but he's having serious relationships and kind of in between or on the side of that relationship. You're there. And that's the type of relationships. He's a good guy. He's a good man, but he never can fully commit to you. And in the ways that he commits are not ways that you really need him to be committed. You want him to do more, be there for you, be a mental, emotional, spiritual support. And he just can't give you that. He may not have that to offer. And that type of behavior wears on you, wears on your spirit, wears on your soul, wears on your hope that you can have a healthy relationship. And so that is our ready to wear woman. You are ready and feel ready for a healthy relationship, but you seem to be falling in a cycle of the type of men that you attract or the type of men that you get engaged with in terms of relationship. All right. So the last women that I want to talk about is the ready, set, go woman. The ready, set, go woman. So this particular woman really is ready for a relationship. She's ready for a serious relationship. She's ready for a marriage relationship. And this is how she feels that would help complete her. She's set in terms of her financial ability. She's set in terms of how she wants her, or the raising of her family, whether she's co-parenting with a child's father, whether she is open to a blended family, whether she is a mother herself or wants to become a mother. She's set in the mindset of family, which is really important when you're talking about marriage and you're talking about serious relationships, right? You have to have a mindset of being open and being willing to share and then blend those families, because a lot of us have blended families, especially if you're a little you're more seasoned in life, you're back into the marriage and that space. You have to be open-minded for opportunities and for ways that you can give and take. But again, a mindset of being open and family oriented. And then the last one, ready to go in terms of your intention to go the extra mile. So that might mean also that you have a go-to source. Your go-to source being, I'm going to say, for me, my go-to source was God. I wasn't in the space of looking for a relationship. I had decided that, okay, my relationship is going to be in cultivating me, looking and walking in my purpose. And if I happen to find a mate, then I will meet him on the path to my purpose, or on that path. And so that was really important to me. Being a ready, set, go woman, being able to navigate my way out of a hot and ready, being a hot and ready, being able to navigate my way out of a ready to wear woman to getting to the ready, set, go woman. Meaning that, again, my mindset, I shifted. I started to embrace some things about me and the areas that I needed to change my mindset, my behavior, that I was ready to close doors, that I was ready and intentional about meeting a person of a particular mindset as well. So now let me give you some tools on how to get there, kind of navigate this process. So one of the first things, and I know some of you may have done this already for the women that are out there, whether you're ready to wear, hot and ready, or ready, set, go woman, right? I want you to know that the first thing you have to do is activate spiritual principles. Now, how do we activate spiritual principles? The first principle that I would like for you to give some attention to is having a source. Who is your source? What is your source? And so my source, I call my source God. My source is God. So I'm having conversation. I'm building relationship with God, because I know that if my attention is on my source, my interest is that my mate, the potential mate that is waiting for me or looking for me, is also focusing on his source. So if we're going to the same source, that means we're going to have a better outcome. That means the timing is going to be right. That means the ideas are going to be right. They're going to line up. So I want to make sure that that's happening first. Then the second principle I want to put in place is I want to make sure that I have actually explored what I want. Just like your Christmas list, right? There are things that you might want for Christmas. And there was things, growing up, you may have wanted certain gifts for Christmas. Think of it like a Christmas wish list. Put the things down on your list. And I'm saying that you need to write it. Just like the spiritual principle says, write the vision and make it plain. But there's another step in that, so that it can be carried to the messenger, who will then deliver that message, right? So we need to make sure that our message, the spiritual principles that we're using and activated, get delivered to the right place. And so we want to write it down. So be as open and descriptive as you can be. Some things may be superficial, right? You might say, okay, I need for him to have a 8-pack, not a 6-pack. I need him to have this kind of body and all this kind of stuff. It's okay to put those things in there. if your mindset is really on who the person is and who he is on the inside. That's going to be a lot more important over time, because we all know looks can fade. They can be changed and shift, and they could also not be what it appears from the onset. I think as women, we can attest to that we can change, right? We can change our eye color, our hairstyle. We can change the size of our body parts, our proportions. We can change all of that pretty easily. You know, whether, and I'm not talking about surgery. I'm talking about you get the right kind of jeans, you get the right kind of butt pad. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. So there are ways that we can make adjustments to how we look, right? And so we want to be careful and be mindful about what we're asking for somebody else to look like in their authentic self. So you want to make sure that you are writing your wish list, and put the things that you want on your wish list, right? What's the the purpose of having a wish list and there's nothing on it that you really want? So go ahead, put your what your desires are on your wish list, but also recognizing that those things are not as important as what is truly a part of that person, what's a part of them on the inside, because that's ultimately what's going to last. The second thing is, I want you to write another list about what you want in terms of friendship. It's important that you're able to understand how important friendship is in a relationship. If and when you are friends, you always have that as your relationship. You can fall back on your friendship and the things that brought you together as friends. So you need to define first for yourself, how do you define friendships? Whether it's male or female, how do you define your friendship? That's another important piece for you to write down. This is the second list, friendship list. And let's think of some of the things that we might want in a friend. Somebody that's trustworthy, somebody that's reliable, somebody that is that you can talk to openly without judgment, somebody that's going to be honest with you and tell you about yourself sometimes. You also want a friend that's going to be there. Right, when you are going through and some of the hard times are there, that you have somebody to say, go ahead, you can do this, you can get through it, we can do this together. You want that kind of friendship. And you want that to be a good foundation for your relationship. So that means that friendships really develop over time. So that means you need to have some time in this friendship type of relationship before you really jump into a serious or marriage relationship. And I know sometimes you just click with somebody. I've had this experience. I've been married 3 times. So I've had this experience that, you feel so comfortable with somebody. It's like, we could get married right now. And I did that too. I did that too. However, I'm advising you not to kind of follow the same steps that I had. So just because you're comfortable with somebody in this time in this season, and you may have endured an event, a circumstance or situation, you still want to invest time before you make a decision toward marriage. Marriage is the ultimate investment of time. And so it's better to invest at least a year, 18 months into getting to know someone in terms of a friendship before you jump into something more serious. Because you need time for the real person to show up. You need time to see if that 6-pack is not just a plastic plastic waist belt. And then you also want to make sure that you take your time with intimacy, because these are boundaries. These are things that you cannot undo. You cannot undo the connection, the exchange of fluids and energy when intercourse is involved, when any kind of sexual contact is involved. You can't take that back. You can't undo it. So you want to make sure that if you make that decision, that this is actually somebody who, one, is worthy of your time and you are worthy of theirs and your effort. And then go into, and I know this is going to sound kind of harsh, but you have to go into this relationship with the thought that this could be the potential father of my child, regardless of where you are. If you're okay with this, or this person could be potentially a part of me forever. And that can come in many forms. Sometimes it can come in the forms of STDs. Sometimes it can come in the form of pregnancy. Sometimes it can come in the form of obsession. I can't shake this person. This person won't leave me alone. You guys know what I'm talking about. It can become all of these different things. So you want to make sure that you have enough conversation and you see and listen. And listen when people tell you who they are. Trust them. If they say, I'm not really a good person, you're like, oh, no, you're so nice to me. And listen to people. When they tell you who they are, listen and pay attention. Let their actions show whether they're telling you the truth or not, or whether you should believe it or not. We typically look at relationships through these blinders and these rose-colored glasses that we may not really pay attention to who that person really is, and they're showing it to you. After they tell you, they typically are going to show you. So make sure you are being discerning, that you're listening to feedback. Your family and friends might say, well, you know what, you might want to step back a minute because you're doing some things that are out of character. You are, you're different, and or this person is isolating you. Be mindful of that too. It's one thing to share time. It's another thing to be possessive and obsessive about somebody and your time and how they are taking up your time. So we want to be careful and be cautious about these different ways to look at and look into our relationships. Just because you're ready, sometimes it doesn't mean that it's the time. And so you want to keep your mindset ready and open. But you want to continue to take this path of self-exploration. You want to continue to take this path and being the best you can be. You want to take this time to make sure that if you're asking for somebody that's patient and kind, that you actually are patient and kind yourself. And you can actually have examples of that. You can demonstrate that. You can speak to that. And others can bear witness to who you say you are. These are really important things to think about when you're talking about being ready and serious in relationships. And make sure that it's reciprocal. So as you are meeting, your potential mate, you want to make sure that it's authentic on his end too. If his family members are telling you you don't want to be with him, you may want to pay attention. They may not just be haters. Maybe you need to use your level of discernment. Your discernment also comes when you connect with your source, right? It's that voice inside of you. And it doesn't have to be loud, and typically it won't be. It's not going to work against your will. You're going to hear that whisper, this is not the time. This is not the person. And I'm not talking about your mind. That's not where the Spirit speaks to you. It doesn't speak to your mind. It speaks to your gut. It speaks to your intuition. It speaks inside of you. It's not even a heart thing. A lot of us say, oh, well, I love him. I feel this. If your words for judgment is I feel, you're talking about your emotions. If your words are I think, then you're talking in your head. It is a gut feeling. And so you want to make sure that that spirit inside of you is resonating with the spirit inside of him to confirm that this is who it is for you. Which brings me to my third point. You need a confirmation. And I would encourage you to go to your source for the confirmation and your wish list for the characteristics or the attributes of your potential mate, that you write that down and make it specific. Put that in your wish list somewhere at the bottom. Make it, and I asked for a couple things, and I'll share this with you. Ask for something that you can see visibly, and then something that will confirm, and maybe it's a particular character trait, or maybe it's he has on a pink sweater with blue shoes, whatever that confirmation is for you, that is almost so unfounded that it's hard to find, whatever that might be. And so I'll give you my wish list. I had a number of things on my wish list. I asked for my mate to be family oriented, I asked that he could cook and love to barbecue because I love barbecue. I asked for him to be adventurous and be able to expose me to new things. I didn't have to have all the answers all the time. Somebody who studied, somebody who worked in community. These were things that were important to me, and these were things on my wish list. But my confirmation, so I had 3 confirmations. I had one was I asked for dimples. I just think dimples are just so cute and they're easy to identify. That was one. My second request on my list was that he could sing, because I just thought it would be so amazing to have somebody that could sing and would sing just to me. And then my third thing was that my third confirmation request was that he be a man in every sense of the word. And ironically, I married a man whose last name was Man. And so if God doesn't have a sense of humor, I certainly do. And it was totally unexpected. I did ask to also on my wish list, I wanted him to be a friend and somebody that I knew. That was important to me because of the way that I work in my community work. And those were struggles that I had in my previous marriages that I didn't know them before we married. And so I wanted to make sure that he was somebody that my friendship could endure. Whatever we might go through, that our friendship could still endure, and I would know who he was. And so that was important to me. And I had been friends with my husband before we got married, over 7 million minutes. I counted the minutes. And so, and I wanted to make sure that my friendship minutes in my relationship was a lot more than my marriage minutes in my relationship. So my friendship minutes was over 7 million minutes in our friendship, which is over a period of almost, more than 10 years. And then or just about 10 years. And then my marriage relationship was about 1.8 million minutes. So I encourage you to use the formula for me that worked for me and make it work for you. If not, of course, you can come up with your own model. But one more piece of advice. This is when you talk about you love somebody or they love you, I'm going to give you a test. This is a test that you can put through yourself. And this is a test that you can put the person who you are interested in becoming a mate with. See if they line up with 1 Corinthians chapter 13. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, it's the love is patient, love is kind. It's the description of what love is according to Scripture. I'm encouraging you to have some standard set. Find some standard that's already set. There are multiple ones that you can use. You can use the 5 love languages, but you want to really look into personality as well, attributes as well, values as well. And 1 Corinthians chapter 13 is the best standard that I have seen and have found that I hold myself accountable to. If I say I love you, then I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be kind. I'm not going to boast or brag. You're not going to see me on social media. Every picture you're not going to see me like that, because that's not, for me, according to that standard, that's not the expression of love. It's not that you can't celebrate the person that you love and you make that public, but at some point you have to have some boundaries where the privacy of your relationship begins and ends. What's appropriate for public and what's not appropriate for public view and public comment. And you also don't want to put your marriage relationship or your serious relationship where you're getting validation or where you feel other people need to validate that. So I just want to caution you about your use of social media in a marriage relationship and in a serious relationship. It's a very sensitive topic. I know for a lot of people who are very public with how they feel and chronicling their life through social media. But you have to make sure, because there's also the forces that bring us people together. There are the forces that tear people apart. Often we open the door for both. And so I want you to, as a ready woman, I want you to start right now setting what those boundaries look like. How much of your personal life right now is on social media? How many people right now have access to you? Whether you're a hot and ready, whether you're ready to wear, whether you're a ready, set, go woman. How much of that is public information? Because you do want to make sure that the person that is pursuing you, and he should be pursuing you as opposed to the opposite, you can accept advances or you can reject advances. But if you're lining things up spiritually, ready woman, if you're lining things up for spiritual principles, if you're lining things up to have a different outcome than you normally have, if you're lining things up because this is a serious space in your life, a serious time in your life, and this is a next step for you, this is how you become ready. So again, make sure where you are and what people see on social media, that all of you is not there. And I'm speaking physically exposed, all of you, because people can have a misperception about your package and be more interested in your package than you, and give you all the information you've needed because you put that out on social media. But I just need somebody to take me out to dinner. I just need somebody to give me some attention. I just need somebody that's going to be this. And they can be everything you put out there on social media and that not be the authentic them. They're just giving you what you said you wanted publicly. And you get involved because you think, oh, wow, somebody's answered. This is an answer to who I want. And then they show up and give you that. And then once you give them what they came for, then they're out the door. So we want to be mindful. We want to use discernment. We want to use discretion. It's a very good word to have in terms of women. We want to use discretion. We want to use responsibility. We want to be responsible for how we use our bodies. We want to be responsible for what we put out in public and how we say what we say. These are really, really intentional mindset shifts. For some people, it's a mindset shift. Some people may already be there, but some people may not know. You may not know. And so I want to make sure that as we're talking about this being Women's Month, Women's History Month, the value of Women's Month, all of that, that we actually pause and consider some of the deeper meanings, some of the deeper struggles, some of the deeper ways that we have to look at ourselves. And lastly, I think it's really important with a ready woman to make sure, and ready women in general, that we have a lens for how our family dynamic, our family values, our acceptable culture, and our family translates into our larger community, our larger family. That really is important. And you want to make sure that you have a mate that lines up with that as well. We are here to make our community and our world better. We are here to uplift and anchor our families in very real ways. We have to be about that business as a ready woman. Now, I can't speak to other women who are not ready, but those of us who are, and those of us who are already in marriage relationships, we need to do our part to make sure those marriages survive. We have to do our part to make sure that our children survive. This is, if we are really serious about who we are and what we want, we have to put that show on the road. It starts at home. It absolutely starts at home. This home first. Your temple, your body, your sanctuary is where it starts. Start there. Then it expands into your household. That means those who occupy the same household that you either lead or are part of the leadership in. Important. It's important that those values show up in your life so that it can show up in your family, and that family, your family, if you're the only one on the block that has the manicured lawn, if you're the only house on the block whose family have barbecues together, if you're the only one on the block that prays together, be that light on your block. Be that light on your block. It's important. It's very important in the time that we're in, because that is how we change. That's how we change the things that we're seeing, the crime that we're seeing, the homelessness that we're seeing. This is where it shifts. It's the ready woman who shifts that. It's the ready woman who initiates that. It's the ready woman who protects that environment. It's the ready woman lifting up her mate to help him to stand. That's who the ready woman is. Not just the surface parts of us, but the more meaningful parts of us being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. This is really important to our ready woman status. So, and we want to be and know our value. We want to be and know that we are validated in who we are and what we do. These are really important things to note. So, I am excited about how we are we going to use these tools? How are we going to use these tools? And so if you are connected to us on Encourage Me I'm Young, this is our Encourage Me I'm Young, Put Your Family First podcast. One of the reasons that we use this as a platform is because we have to be more engaged in how we build, rebuild, and heal our families. We have to take the next step. We have to go the extra mile because this is where it changes. A ready woman can anchor her home. She can anchor her community. And we need every ready woman to step up so that the mate that you connect to, the mate that you are connected to, he can rise so that he can do his part in our community and our family. But if you're not anchored, your family is going to operate as a ship. And it's passing by different ports. It's on its way and it's moving without you. And it's just dragging you along. We need for you to be intentional, ready woman. We need for you to be ready for more than just your family. We need for you to be ready for this community. We need you in these ways. So put your family first. So Calvin just dropped back in. I think he heard the put your family first component of it.
No. I was letting you do the things that you do. And I find it a little dust buggy. So I find it, how do you just put that story out there and understanding that family has to be first, right? I don't know if you saw or like the story I was telling you about, right? And I just shared, if you speak single, you'll stay single, right? And we do a lot of self-grandizing, right? I did this by myself. I raised this child. I go to work every day. I did this. Daddy ain't nowhere. Then as soon as you pull up on the daddy, it's a completely different story. It's like, why do we do these things? And anytime a father is involved with his child or a mother's involved with their children, you should speak that, right? It's like you're so used to saying, I did this by myself because that's what the system wants. The single, when you say the single anything, that's, you're answering the tax bracket. You know what I mean? When you got children, you automatically in a co-parenting situation. So putting your family first, are you a ready woman and ready to admit that the father is very active in his child's life? And the thing that we see is, where's the dad? He not, not as much as I want him to be. Right? Right? He's involved. Well, not, yeah, he's around, but he's not, all of that works against you. As a matter of fact, everything that we have spoken is happening right in your face. And that's what's really harming the sense of family, right? So are you a ready woman where you can admit that the father, like we having this conversation, you have pushed men to the back with your words. That's why it's so readily available for you to say that you did it by yourself, because you've been speaking it so long and trying to deny or to access. And then just like we find out the other day, black men pay their child support on time more than anybody. That's a real statistic. We paying our child support, but do we get access to our child, or do we got to fight for access? Every time we go to get our child, do we got to do a pancake breakfast in order to see our kid? Or it's a birthday party. The day I was supposed to get my kid, it's a birthday party. Like all these things, and this stuff goes on, right? Where you're not invited or things like that. Like, I mean, it's just crazy. You know, it's got to stop, right? Because that's what we're creating is exactly what we're speaking. So I'm with you. Are you a ready woman? Yeah, but are you a ready man, right? Are you willing to be a committed man, right? Because we be out here on some BS, right? We've been passing this around, you know, this attitude about being a player because that's where we hang our head. Like, I don't even want to get into this rant, but I'm here now. She didn't open up the book with one question. You see how far I took that? I'm gone. Right? Because you got to understand, and I say this wholeheartedly, you better be careful of the words you choose to use around your children and the father of your child. It is so important that you use the proper words in describing your family. And if you keep describing your family in an area that is negative, it will leave you by yourself. You will find yourself exactly what you have spoken by yourself. So I did this by myself. Yes, you're by yourself. And the man that comes into your life or the woman that comes into your life will see you as that selfish person. And so you'll be wondering and asking these questions, why my relationship is, why I'm not, you'll be asking that question consistently because you speak it. You got to get that out your mouth. We need to be speaking family. We need to be speaking co-parenting. We need to be speaking literacy. We need to be speaking unity. We need to be walking in the way of love. We need to make sure that our children are cared for by both parents. These are the things that must happen and occur. We have too many of our children. Like, we got situations, dudes don't even want to come see about their son. Like, you so gone thinking you a player, and y'all keep out here with these dudes, and you so gone as a player, you non-committal, you can't commit, and then you can't be there for your kid, and then you can't be there for yourself. Like, damn, like, what is this, right? And it's just like, you know, in that interview, and I'm telling you, that really bugged me to know that you knew that the father was in his life. And you said, yeah, I raised my son, you know, he's by himself, so and so and so and so, this, that, and the other. I raised my son, and my son got two businesses too, and I cut her straight off. Monique, you hear me? I cut her straight off. I said, there's no way you raised that child by yourself. The father had to be in the picture. You don't get those results without men being involved in the boy's life. You just don't get it. I don't care who you are. If you think that your son got out here and made it, and it was just because of you, yeah, you're all wrong. There were men who contributed to your son's well-being and his life, and you need to acknowledge them. All good ingredients counts. It count, period. And until all this year, you're going to get this work about everybody understanding the importance of the ingredient of family. We have to change, and we can't change out here flossing and, right, you know, you get a little money, you move out to the suburbs, then you drive down in front of poverty people and people that's broke and pull up on the real sweet car. We can't keep doing that. We just can't keep doing that. And then turn around and say, well, you know, it's racism. It's racism. And at the same time, you the one standing right in the door. You can't even get to the racism with you standing in the door, flossing, pretending to be somebody that you really not. And then when you get on the other side of the door, they turn around like, how did you get by me? How did you get by? Because you harming family with some of these decisions. Like, we got to cut this out. And so, you know, when I grew up, I know I'm ranting. She told me to stop. She gave me the look, please. She gave me that look, like, please don't say it, right? Because I was about to go there. You hear me? So, okay, Rose, go ahead, baby.
Well, I just kind of want to reiterate some of the things that we talked about. And, you know, find yourself in the story. You can change. I say this, you know, every opportunity I can. You can change. You can reset. Today doesn't have to be tomorrow. It doesn't have to be yesterday. You have the power to change. If you're given tomorrow, then you can change, just like you were given a gift of the new day. Change what needs to be changed. Again, if you are hot and ready, meaning that you have doors open and you're trying to stay occupied, and meanwhile, while you're waiting for your ultimate mate to show up, you may want to start to shut those doors so that only one door is open by the one who has the key. So you want to make sure that you stay connected to your source. You want to start there. You want to make your wish list of what it is that you want in a relationship, what you want in a mate. You want to make sure that you line up with the things that you say you want, that you are those things. It needs to be reciprocal. If you're patient and kind and you want somebody to be patient and kind, then you need to make sure you line up. If you want somebody to be wealthy, then you need to be wealthy. If you want somebody who's going to be outgoing, then be outgoing. If you want somebody who travels, then travel. So if you need to be on the same frequency, here's it in a different way. You need to be on the same frequency or the vibration with the things that you want. Your status vibration is around 62 megahertz. That's kind of the average adult waking up in the morning. What happens next is what's going to be drawn by your energy that day. So the more you have a vibration, the energy of peace and well-being and joy and happiness and those types of things, and gratitude, those types of things, keep your vibration high. The people who you want to meet in that vibration are on that same frequency. So that means you want to be around people who are happy and engaging and honest and grateful. You want to be on the same frequency as those people. The same thing with your mate. If these are things that you want in a mate, then you need to have that frequency so you can draw them to you. So I think it's really important as you kind of navigate this space, use some of the tools that we talked about. It worked for me on both sides. I've been the hot and ready. I've been the ready to wear woman who had the cycle in men and types of relationships. I've been there too, till I became a ready, set, go. My mindset changed. I did the self-work to change the things that I knew didn't serve me anymore. A certain mindset, it didn't serve me anymore to have more doors open than I had prayers going or my wish list. It didn't serve me any longer. So we had to shift. I had to go back to my source and say, okay, I'm ready in this way. Help me when the things that I'm struggling in. Help me to change these things. And was given the strength and the courage to do that, and the blueprint and the models. Those women came who helped me to see me better. I didn't have to put it on social media. So be wary about what you put on social media. Be wary about what you make immortal about who you are, because that's what happens on social media. It doesn't disappear. You may be able to take something down, or something may have been taken down, but believe me, it's part of an official record that they can pull up anytime and use in your favor or against you. So be mindful what you say and what you do. You can't take it back. So be mindful of what the words that you speak, and speak life. Speak life again. And if you need a standard for love, I encourage you to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 13. How do you measure? How do you line up? And are you really ready? Go there and see if you're ready.
All right. Go there. Go there. Do not pass go. Collect your $200 and then go there. You're going to need it when you get there. So, Heather?
I just want to just let you know, if you want to continue the conversation, if you want to do the self-work together, I am a personal change coach. You can reach out to my website at yourinspiredjourney.com. That's inspired with a D, yourinspiredjourney.com. You can reach me on social media, but you can also reach out to me by phone at 313-759-7855. That's 313-759-7855. Let's schedule a session. Let's get you started. Let's get you ready for your mate.
That's what's up. And get yourself ready for your mate if that's what you want. But you got to give up. You got to take them foot out the doors. You can come get this work as much as possible But you most definitely know, you got to know that it takes work to get happy and to be happy. With that being said, my name is Calvin T. Mann. I am the president and founder of Encourage Me, I'm Young. You have watched episode of METV for Women's Month, and it will continue next week where we'll have a special guest. Other than that, peace, soul, and family. That's new, right?